Hello, Internet world! And as you can see here, I am solo dolo. Cause of Gabe, but hey, man, if you got the chance to vacation, go on vacation. I ain't mad at him. Just I can't. But hey, I'm gonna let you know right now. Once I take a vacation, y'all probably gonna be scared of when I'm gonna come back. You're gonna be like, yo, when's this man gonna come back? Jesus Christ. But anyways, man, with this being what day we're recording right now, with this being basically the last week of Black History Month, I'm gonna dedicate this episode to just some classics. We're gonna talk about some classic black shows. We gonna make this shit black. We're gonna make this black and we're gonna make this real black and nerdy, kind of like Urkel. So yeah, I mean, one thing I do want to discuss is just, I mean, especially since we talk a lot about comics, talk a lot about Marvel, DC, all that. I really want to get into a lot with some of our black superheroes. We want to highlight them. Also, something I was also thinking about too. Why does it seem like every single time they have a show with a black lead, or it has to talk about racism? Because I mean, you even see it even with like some of our superhero shows or superhero movies. Like there's some hint of racism, especially with Falcon and Winter Soldier. I mean, I like the way the show was. I like the story behind it and everything, and how it was basically kind of paying tribute to the original Winter Soldier, who was a black dude. But but hey, back then it was like what, World War II, during the time of Captain America. Yeah, they weren't fucking with us like that. But even still, it's just like that topic of racism always comes up even in the comics when it comes to us. And even like especially towards the final episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, when he was literally just talking about, basically one of the reasons why he didn't even want to have the shield. He's like, just look at me, I'm not the picture perfect person that y'all are gonna look at as y'all Captain America. But hey, he had to step up, which I thought was which I definitely thought was definitely just an amazing thing to do, amazing kind of message to really put out there. And even something like Luke Cage. I mean, I think Luke Cage, it kind of, especially with the first season, it really digged into like things like the prison culture and everything like that. Because man came up in a whole fighting ring when he was in prison, was falsely accused, all that stuff. We see stories like that all the time, and it's like, I mean, I get wanting to be relatable to people, but sometimes I think, especially when it comes to black characters, can we not be too realistic? Or do you feel like we have to kind of keep some of the realism in order to draw people's attention?
I say keep some of the realism, but it don't have to be slavery though. It can be regular life. We like Peter Parker because he had a regular job. He was still having problems, so that's just regular stuff. They don't have to tell. We have the same problems that he have, but it ain't gotta be deep rooted from racism. For some odd reason, they want the white folks to forget about it, but they want us to continue to remember it. Like, we got triumph stories too, not just we were slaves.
Not just suffering stories.
Not all of us stood back. We fought too.
Oh yeah, of course. And I mean, Also, even with the Spidey verse and with Miles Morales, like his story, I think was more like less about racism. It was more, I think it's probably because of the fact that he's a Spider-Man, so his story is like more lighthearted. You know, he's just the average person who's in school doing this, doing that, trying to balance life and super and being a superhero. So yeah, I think besides him, besides Miles, it's like every other, yeah, it's like every other one is has to have a element of racism. I think it's just, I think I'm starting to agree with everybody else. I think we need different stories. We need something that's less about racism. You know, also since we're saying talking about iconic black shows, one I think we need to expound on is Everybody Hates Chris. Like, cause that show, even it was, cause I think the reason, and this is definitely the reason why I liked it, but the reason why everyone loved the show is a pure comedy sitcom, and it was just literally black people being black people. Even though they were poor, it was about, Chris Rock's life. Even though they were, poor, or somewhat living in poverty, and just not the richest family around, but they were still normal people and normal relatable people. You know, Chris was in school being bullied. Being the oldest. I think people who are like the oldest in their family was just like, yeah, I definitely feel what he's going through. I can't because I'm the youngest child, and yo, it's so funny. Like literally, like I know you're probably not on Instagram a lot, but there's these things where it's like where they make you post a story, but it's like, oh, it'll say, oh, post this if you were like outside the country or whatever. But there was one where it's like if you were the last born, and so I did that one, and someone was like, bruh, everybody who's the last born are always some assholes. I'm just like, what? But wait, did you have any siblings, or were you your only child at Gabe?
I was the oldest.
Oh, you were oldest?
Yeah, I got all the punishment before everybody else got it. I paved the way.
Man, I always get that same story from the oldest. Even my older sister, like she's not like, I definitely have like older brothers and sisters, but like when it comes to like both my parents, it's like she's technically like the oldest when it comes to both me and my parent, both of my parents. But what's wild is that she always comes at me is like, I always got B, you barely got B. I'm like, I saw you get your ass beat. I'm like, okay, let me not do that. You know what they say? Smart people learn from their mistakes. Wise people learn from the mistakes of others. So yeah, I was just being wise about the shit.
Nah, I wouldn't even know why. Like anybody that's the firstborn, that's the try baby. Like you don't like think about it. You ain't got no kids, right?
Nah.
Okay, when you have your first one, boy, you gonna be trying. You gonna try.
I mean, that's what any kid.
And then no. The second one.
That's what any kid. Because I mean,
no, it ain't.
Because I mean,
it's only with the first.
Every child's different though.
No, it's different, but you still got the same principles. You change a diaper. If they ain't crying, you know principles. So when you get that first baby, you don't know what the fuck. You're panicking. You got to be up in the middle of the night. But when you have that second one, you like, all right, I know I ain't gonna be able to get sleep during this time. I know now what you didn't when you had your first one. So that first one, you'll beat it, do all kind of crazy stuff, and be like, you know what? That is some danger. You know what? Let me not do that for the other 3 kids. So that's the try baby.
Man. Hey, but they always say the firstborn always ends up being the leader.
Yeah, because we get punished the most. Yeah. I didn't know whether I was walking on eggshells in my household. Man, I got beat like crazy.
Probably because you was doing some bullshit.
Nah, like, hey, can I get those Skittles? And then I got beat the shit up. Nigga like Skittles, shit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we definitely saw elements of that in Everybody Hates Chris. We always saw We always saw him get in trouble for some shit. I mean, it was it was such a great show. But I mean, I think when it comes to shows like that, I mean, I'm surprised it went on for as many seasons as it did, because when you saw like the lead actor, like getting taller, his voice getting deep towards the towards the ending seasons, I'm just like, yo, how long are they gonna do this show? Like this man is going through puberty. Like, come on now, like, and especially when you're working with like kid actors, so you're gonna start to see, things are going to change. But I mean, I think it's definitely better. I think that is definitely better than getting a grown adult to play a teenager. So,
I mean, he could have just he could have just told his story from that point. I mean, Chris Rock.
But I mean,
he can lead all the way up until Juice, almost.
Juice? He wasn't in Juice.
Not Juice.
Pootie Tang, something like that.
Not Pootie Tang. The one with Ice Cube in it.
You sure he was in the movie with Ice Cube?
Not Ice Cube. Ice-T. New Jack City.
Oh, New Jack City.
There you go.
So that was So New Jack City was his breakout role.
No, I'm not saying it's a breakout role, but I'm saying he could have, if he wanted to, he could tell the story all the way, because he had to go through the ranks of being a comedian and stuff like that. So you could tell that story too.
I mean, from I think it was "Don't Kill the Messenger," that comedy special. He kind of tells a story about what happened, like after he got his GED. So that's where they end the show. They end the show with the whole GED result.
But is that long enough of his life?
No, but I mean, like, you kind of could tell. Okay, right after the whole. Okay, what does it say? What's it say? You kind of could tell. Okay, yeah. And then he went on and started being a comedian. So it's like you kind of can tell that up to that point was where he started to transition into being a comedian. So
I would drop names. I would drop, not like embarrassing stories, but who they met during that time, because then it'll help.
I think that's better for a biopic. Something like that, like, especially since it's more of a rise to him being a comedian, because like the whole point of Everybody Hates Chris was lightly about his life. Mm-hmm. So about his early years. Mm-hmm. So once you start getting into him becoming an adult, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the show. So, and I'm pretty sure he wasn't too much around his family when he was, still on the come up. So, yeah, really
Everybody Hates Chris is a lighthearted. I wish I had a Everybody Hate Chris lifestyle. I wish I had that one more.
Really?
Than the one I had. Yeah, I had a Antoine Fisher lifestyle. Oh. Yeah. So, a little different. I'd rather get told, hey, clean your room. You can't watch TV at a certain time. But I got beat the living shit out of. That was my situation. I think because I look like my dad. So that's usually why most moms would fuck you up.
That's low-key fucked up, but it's also kind of fun. But it's...
Nah, I'm past it. Yeah, it's funny now.
Like,
yeah.
Damn, it's like, Jesus.
It's funny now that I'm adult and I'm out of the situation, but at the time, yeah, I got my ass
of course.
tore
At
up.
the time, it's definitely never funny. But I mean, when it comes to like some of these shows, it's like it's good to know. It's still good to know when to stop. Mm-hmm. Because you can't. Because it's especially like another iconic show, Insecure. Issa Rae said straight up she wanted to stop at like 5 seasons, and I think for the final season, like, even though people had some mixed reviews about it, it was a great way to end the series. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can't, like, of course, we're so, as people being invested in the show, you want to continue to see more stories. You see these characters develop, but I mean, with certain shows, you just got to be, especially with black shows, you got to just be lucky. You got to be lucky of how far they came. Like 5 seasons for a black sitcom, or just a black television show on a major network too. That's a good run. If
you have, like, how we are looking at these DC and the MCU universes, mm-hmm. they have different sub stories, each having their own story and timeline and everything else. So that makes sense for that to be running on. But when you have a single story by itself, movie wise, even book wise, when you write into a series too long, it started getting into the weeds. You remember we used to do that back in the 80s. They'd just be like, okay, we got a good movie, Chucky.
I'm a 90s.
And then Chucky 2, then Chucky in space, and then Chucky in your ass. And you'd be like, whoa. Whoa. It's like, why are we here?
I'm a 90s baby, so yeah, 80s, no. But
I
definitely see what you're talking about, because it's like
E.T. comes back to the house. You'd be like, why? We left on a good note.
I think we're starting to see that era of television and, like, you know, and movies come back in a way nowadays, because
now everybody got a camera in their hand.
They rebooting every fucking thing.
That, and then everybody's coming with their own cameras, and you're gonna get some shitty stories.
And that's what I be saying all the time. Like, why not get the people who are actually making good content and just make original stories? Why we have to go back? Because, like, what I recently just saw on Twitter is that apparently there's gonna be a Fairly Odd Parents like reboot.
Oh, I seen it. I seen the
yeah,
commercial.
I seen the picture. I'm just like,
no, you seen the ad for it?
Yeah, I saw the ad, the picture for it.
No, the commercial.
I didn't know they had a commercial for
it. Yeah, it's already. Yeah,
it's just like
I had a trailer for it.
Dog. Like, and like when it comes to Nickelodeon shows, Fairly Odd Parents is definitely my top 5, and it's not 5. So, like, for sure, I love Fairly Odd Parents, but you gotta know when to stop. It's the same thing.
But this one ain't for you though. This ain't for you.
I don't care, like, bro. Like
this ain't for you.
They making it live action. The guy looks creepy. Like,
this ain't for you. You got to also think about this. You got to think about they did that with Clifford for a little minute, because Clifford came out before, like, my time.
Before the 2000s.
No, I'm talking about I'm old, and it came out before my time. This was just on books. You had, like,
I mean, yeah, of course.
Clifford.
It was a book series, and then it became a show.
Right. So that you could say that's a reboot, even though that's a book.
I mean, that's more of a show adaptation of a book. You know, they do that all the time. They take a book that has, like, a good story or just a very popular book, and they make a TV show out of it for the people,
right.
for people who love the book.
The only reason why we're rebooting is because the people that used to watch TV in the 90s are now videographers, and like, especially me, I know we got so many Batman films. If I get the call, best believe I ain't gonna listen to none of y'all. Be like, nah, we don't need another one. No, we need another, because I'm putting my adaptation on it.
I think it's definitely different for a superhero movie, for superhero movies and just comic movies in general, because there's so many, like, the history of comics. There's so many different, you know, stories from comics. You can make movies. We could continue to make movies from comic books, like, probably, I wouldn't say forever, but
you could say for forever.
Like a long time.
You could say forever without having to bring new stories in.
Yeah. And plus, there's brand new comics coming out too with original stories. So we continue to make these movies, but
comic books came out from the 1900s, my man. Just that goes that back far. So yeah, you got enough stories for fucking.
And especially now with the MCU doing the multiverse, so it's like we got different stories, different possibilities, and I'm thinking, are they gonna run out of actors? I'm not liking it. This is also the same thing I said about Tony Khan with the AEW thing, and him owning, like, the wrestling company, but he bought all of what WWE had. So if you got all the top talent, same thing with Lakers. When you add all these superstars to one roster, you got all the ball hogs and everybody that's got an ego to one roster. Eventually, just like now, you got the Nets. Scarlet Witch. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is it Scarlet? Yeah, okay. Scarlet Witch. Yeah, you got Scarlet Witch having issues with her fucking contract because of money issues. And as more superstars keep piling into this fucking thing, I mean, that's kind of the same. That kind of happened in the beginning with. It was between, and it was a reason why War Machine got recasted, because of everything with, you know, Terrence Howard and Robert Downey Jr. Terrence Howard's like, hey, you know, if he's getting paid this much, I want to get paid this much. I mean, and honestly, I feel like Terrence Howard should have got the money. Like Terrence Howard is that good enough of an actor and has enough drawing power to get that money. That's my opinion.
Would you agree with that over Don Cheadle?
I mean, I'm not sure because Don Cheadle he played a great roadie. You know, he played the role really good. I mean, with Terrence Howard, it was slight. I think Terrence Howard would have gotten better as the movies would have went along. But like, yeah, when you're first seeing the Iron Man movie, you like. I mean, it wasn't. I didn't really get into Terrence Howard's like character that much. I mean, from the first like watch.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, it would have been interesting to see him like go deeper into the MCU, like especially with with Civil War, Endgame. I mean,
and because of that situation, because he's been coming out like against that.
Oh yeah, he's definitely like been
saying
vocal about
that
it.
Movie
vocal about it
failed
times,
him a little bit.
I don't think it failed him as an actor. It's just the fact that.
No, he's saying what they did.
Oh,
not the movie itself, but how they was going.
How they handled the situation.
Yeah, and the heavy pay cut they was gonna give him for the second film.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Sometimes you gotta play along to get along. In this industry, when you're playing with their chessboard.
I mean, but you also gotta know your value as well.
You have to no. I never forget your value, but what I'm saying is, if you're gonna play on their chessboard, like we're playing on our chessboard. So if anybody come in here and be like, "Hey, I want the X, Y, and Z," I'm gonna be like, "Let me talk to the crew first. Let me see what because I don't want to make things shifty."
Yeah.
But if you working for a corporation, baby, you playing on their chessboard. You gotta play along to get along. You're gonna be in that if you're gonna be in that industry. And I looked at that when I was working, just doing lighting grips and stuff like that. And you have to be on certain calls. You got put tremendous pressure from, like, they'll tell you to get a movie done within like 3 months or short film or something. And all this pressure is good.
I mean, nowadays, like, doing a movie in 3 months ain't impossible.
Yeah, but it depends on what you want in it. If you're doing a Friday movie, yeah, we can do that bitch in a month.
I mean, they did Friday in like less than a week.
Right. If we're doing, any of these new movies that's been coming out, hell no. Ain't no way. With CGI?
I mean, CGI is going to take up most of the time, yeah. But
yeah, but then
with that one Tyler Perry movie, Fall from Grace, they did that in 5 days.
Okay.
I mean, he has,
but that's his machine. Yeah, he has his chessboard. You just made my point. He has his own chessboard, but he played the game through TBS and BT and doing all of this. Now he's in a position of where he can do whatever you want to. So yeah, he can make Snowfall. I mean, not Snowfall, but what was it?
Fall from Grace.
Fall from Grace. He can make Fall from Grace come out in 5 days. He got a whole compound. Same with what is it? Tech Nine. He has a compound. If you want that album to come out tomorrow, he can make that shit happen come tomorrow. But when
Tech Nine's a monster.
Right. So when you playing with everybody else and you got a distributor over here, this is the person that make your tracks over there. This is the person that mixes for you. That's the person that edits. It's gonna take a minute. You got to go through law firms. You got to go through departments, agencies. You got to go through IDBM to put it on the registry so it can be voted in for awards and stuff like that. There's a whole process that you have to go through that Tyler Perry just has a whole building and just sends that bad boy in, make sure that happens. By the time it turn around in that building, that bitch are done. Now, I can't move that fast, even as a small business owner for the same type of work. It's hard because we don't have that system, and that's the system that I'm working on.
Yeah, of course. Since we were talking about recasting, I mean, we've been seeing this for like the longest since they've been talking about Black Panther 2, but there's a whole movement of just saying that they want to have the role of T'Challa recasted. I mean, I kind of get it. I mean, I think the main problem is that a lot of because of that close bond that all the actors had on that film set, I think it's just gonna be, it would be awkward, especially for recasting a main character like T'Challa. It would be very awkward and very hard for like everybody to have that same bond like they did in the first movie.
I know this is hard to say, or most people wouldn't. As a director, I would go that direction. That would be
recasting them.
I would go to recasting them, but I would go even further. I would probably, tear on people's heartstring a bit, but I would opt in for movie funerals because everybody can't go to the funeral. Mm-hmm. We kind of like open up the movie to a funeral. We still recasting, but it's almost kind of like a police. If he goes down, somebody's gonna take his space. We don't bitch and moan out of that because he has to go to protect that area. Mm-hmm. If this district or this jurisdiction is not protected now, because we feel some type of way, we need to recast. So in a lot of ways, we need to figure out who our person is, and then maybe find out a bunch of other ones too, right? Put them in the movie, and then they have a movie battle, not a real one. Mm-hmm. They have a movie battle, but whoever casted the best one that the movie or Disney see fit, whoever that person is, we just put them in the movie, and then we just mix them in the bunch, and then they fighting and stuff like that, and then he get cast as that. Throw some tears, throw some whimpering in there, and I know I'm just movie director.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with dead bodies, they say the same jokes. So have that, and then we have that ceremony where everybody can enjoy it. It'll boost sales because they will go and get that movie just to see the funeral. Make sure the movie fire. Don't sleep on the movie. Of course. Make sure everything is in there correctly. But after they do that, put a funeral service in that. I know it hurts. But you want to remember.
I think that's also just the fact that I get exactly what you're talking about. I think it's a great idea, but it's just, this man had a family too. So I mean, you don't know how the family's gonna react to that, or if this.
Of course, get their permission. Get their permission, but at the same time, if they don't like that, then cast out this whole, maybe put a silhouette or something like that in there. And then they just have a funeral service and just like almost kind of like you're hinting around that there's a funeral service, but there's nobody, there's nothing. They're just kind of like, we have to pass the torch over to somebody else. Mm-hmm. Somehow you got to do it. And I know it hurts that you got to step on, a real person, a real life person in order for the franchise to move on. But you got to think about if he was here, he was doing that. He was dying and still putting on the performance because he knows how important the character is. So if he was willing to put his whole life on the line.
That's what a lot of people are saying as well, because, I think they said that he was diagnosed with it while taping Black Panther.
Right.
So
if you're going to die on the Shield, which I commend him, he
did a whole bunch of movies right after Black Panther too.
So the fact that he kept going on, people need to stop thinking of acting as this just his job. You are now put in a position of you're responsible of joy for everybody else. Granted that you nail your role, but once they latch on of, hey, I now identify who a Eugene is. Now I'm watching you every time you do anything. Because I watched everything that this man did. So celebrating that, for me, it will hurt because I will be in the movie theater crying myself, just like my man. He did some great fucking movies, but at the same time, with the music, because Disney know how to put a good musical together.
Oh yeah, of course they all.
Okay, they're gonna make that shit slap. Go get black influence and get them people to come in and make and we'll be in there. It'll be church. It'll be church in the middle of a movie. Unheard of, my man. I know we don't want to go there, but it's okay that we can have a funeral service and then have you pull up to go see his actual dead body. I think that's more disrespect. I think just the immediate family needs to see that. But then when it comes to a movie, you know, you could put a wax model in there. All you got to do is just, you know, add some music and stuff like that. I'd rather you sell tickets like that and then have that money go to the families that way. Instead of you crowding one area and then people getting trampled, stepped on, and then they seeing the real life dead body. And then if my son was in the casting and I'm an actor, I don't want y'all around me.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe my immediate team and stuff like that, but who is these folks? And why are they at my funeral service? I know I touch people's heart, but at the same time, like, I'm dead. Like, give me my peace, because I'm gonna be in there bawling, crying. I'm gonna be looking like a jackass, but on purpose. Like, I can't help it. My kid or my whoever is gone, and then I got photographers. My man, I get it.
Yeah, man. I mean, this whole movement to like get him recast. Like, only reason I bring it up again is because the fact that someone even made a song about why they feel it's important to recast his role.
That's stupid.
I mean, it might be. I mean, some of the stuff he was saying in it is like, we get it. You know, we get how the character of T'Challa really, it was inspiring for black people, inspiring for young black kids and everything like that. But I mean, ultimately, it's up to Disney. It's up to Ryan Coogler. It's up to
it's up to the parents. Then it got to go through the chain of command. Parents first, and these business and corporations need to stop that. I hope they hear this, or if they hear my phone or whatever. These business corporations need to stop that. If you're grabbing a story, I don't give a fuck who story it is. He can be the most mass killer. He can be. You got to think about the trickle down effect. I was telling Lena about this beforehand about, you know, yeah, we're playing around, and yes, she's joking around, but you got to think about it. If you go too far with those jokes, it's gonna trickle over into her, like, she can't settle her mind. You know, we're always talking about mental peace and you know, like tranquility, you know, get meditating and stuff like that. And these corporations need to come to these parents first of whoever kid, daughter, son, uncle, whatever. If we want to do a story about Eugene, I need to go to his mama first, talk to her. Is it okay? We're going to make sure it's beautiful. We're going to make sure. And then you get a final say so or look at it before we put it out. Then it goes to Disney. And then Disney be like, all right, bet. Ryan, make it happen. They gave us the green light. It needs to go down that trickle effect, because they be just throwing anything out. And the reason why they do it, because they okay with getting a sue, because they know they got the money that's going to shut you up. They offer more people more money for their content while they're alive. So think about it. If Michael Jackson was alive right now and he was running around throwing his content somewhere, having somebody to sell it, he knows. He knows how much he can get for that. He knows his worth. But if it's the opposite way around, where it's like, okay, you go grab somebody that's Joe Blow on the middle of the damn street. He ain't never seen $1 million. Okay, let alone Michael Jackson gonna fucking tap you for his content. Nigga, I'm Michael Jackson. I got Jackson 5 catalog. I got movies. I got memorabilia. I got assets, my man. Joe Blow in the other house over there, he ain't got nothing. Hey, just because you had that one story one time, because you knocked somebody upside the head with a Twisted Tea bottle or some shit. Hey, let me get that. Here's $1 million for you to come over here and endorse real quick. And then he just raped every other piece of the content off of you. He's asking you just about the Twisted Tea, but he was like, hey, I'm finna make a whole documentary out of him. Okay, bet. He gave you $1 million, right? Now Michael Jackson, he gave you what? I mean, or you gave him for his catalog. You gave him like, I don't know, what's a catalog worth these days?
A lot. I mean, for Michael Jackson, it's worth a lot.
Okay.
So
let's
it just all depends. It just all depends on the artist.
Let's just say for shits and giggles, his catalog let's throw it in a lower number. If his catalog is worth $1 million, Joe Blow never even seen anything past 10,000 because of taxes. Me as a business owner, I can go to Joe Blow and be like, hey, here's 50 just for your troubles and worries, right? All right, I give him 50. I get more content than I want from him, and then I put it in a documentary. He gets mad. He comes and sues me. How much you gonna sue me for? Probably another 50. He ain't really gonna go that high because he ain't never seen that much. He don't even know numbers past that.
My whole thing is that when it comes to like recasting T'Challa, I mean, like, who could be the person to kind of replace Chadwick?
That's young enough
to continue to like. I mean, I don't even think it has to be a young thing because
does have to.
Chadwick was like in his late 30s, wasn't he?
Well,
and he was still contracted to do more movies.
Well,
too.
when I say young, I mean us as black people. I'm 35. I still look like I'm 20. I can go to college if I wanted to, and just slip right on in there, put a little badge on, and slide right on in there. I mean, he has to be cast like that. The only other thing that I can say, recast him, but you ain't got to go hunt for him. We got the multiverse. Boom. We grab Killmonger. He's your new Black Panther. Done and done. Out of here.
I think that's probably where they're gonna go in the direction of, but
that's the only other person that I think we would accept. Really, because who else you feel it just like I'm asking Eugene, Escatory Child. I'm asking you. I'm not even asking for society. Who would you, as anybody, who would you feel could fit that role?
Honestly, I have no clue. I mean, there's been names dropped of like different actors who could possibly, you know.
But I'm saying as an acting, all the movies, TV shows that you've seen, who maybe just be like, you know what, he could be a Black Panther, motherfucker. I'm gonna take my chance on this guy because I haven't, and maybe it's me because I haven't seen TV in a little bit, but I just watch UFC and that's about it.
I haven't seen I don't even think there's anybody who could really take on that role. I don't see it.
The only other person that I'm thinking of, but his height and his size wouldn't. Fuck his name.
Well, what movie was he in?
He was in Get Out. He played the.
You took Dan Kaluuya?
No. Lakeith Stanfield. As here's hold on before you twist your face. As nailing
the face.
No, nailing the role. I think he would get it, but he can't fit the.
He's definitely
his body doesn't fit.
He's definitely a decent actor. He's definitely a good actor. You know?
We was just going off acting skills. He got it.
Yeah, he's proven that he's a good actor. But
his body type, he's small. He's too tiny. He's about my size. I couldn't even play back.
Plus, I don't even know if he could do he hasn't done anything like where he's manipulated his voice really. So I don't even know if he could really do an African accent.
He could do it if he wanted to. He can. It's just
he's
too light skinned.
There's a difference between wanting to and being able to do it. You got to come in being able to do it, especially how the MCU has gotten this far. You can't just bring an amateur on. You have to bring someone who.
At this point, I wouldn't put Lakeith Stanfield as an amateur.
But I'm not to call Lakeith Stanfield an amateur, but like someone who, like we see he has range. But as far as like taking a risk, I should say, not putting an amateur, but taking a risk like that. Since you already done said that his body type, he could probably bulk up. We done seen Michael B. Jordan bulk up for roles and stuff like that.
He couldn't. His exoskeleton wouldn't even match up for that suit. I mean, it's almost like trying to do. Batman.
Chadwick was still. They said Chadwick was a very slim person, and he had to bulk up for Black Panther as well. But
But
My
he
whole-
had the frame though. He was still relatively not too tall, but tall enough. The Keith Stanfield, I feel like is small as shit. For some odd reason, my heart of heart says he's like a Charlemagne size. Because when he came into the Breakfast Club, Charlemagne was almost kind of like a little bit over him. So I don't think he's that big. Like I understand Chadwick, he was just like me. I'm thin, but if I got into the gym, I can get to a size that would be, warrior ready. But if you're a certain height, like think about this: if Gabe slimmed down,
it's just not gonna look good if you're a certain height.
Yeah, if Gabe slimmed down, he would fit a superhero. If he would like put it like really throw in some iron, throw some time in there. Yes, Gabe, I'm talking about you. If he would throw some time and some iron in there, he can get to like he should be a warrior. But as soon as he touches watermelon, that nigga is on the floor.
Bitch ass. All you gotta do is throw a cucumber at him. Like, come on.
Right, it's like dealing with Superman. Oh, I got you. I ain't even gotta put the paw prints on you.
That's his kryptonite. But since we're talking about Black Panther, there was this video that I want to talk about this real quick. There was this video that I was watching where I guess they're saying top 15 like comic book weapons, and when it came to the top two, I think I do believe like first of all they said the number one weapon was Captain America's shield. Which I thought was complete BS. I think number two was T'Challa's suit. My whole thing is that where you get that from? Cause I'm just like I know they're both made. I mean, they're both made out of vibranium. So I mean, it is kind of a debate because they're both made of vibranium. So, but my whole thing still is that you're talking about a suit versus a frisbee. And as we've seen in Falcon and Winter Soldier, it's not like it just comes back to him. You have to really do the timing for it to come back to you. But
yeah, ricochet.
Yeah. But I don't know who this person was who made this list, but it's just like, yo, a shield over the Black Panther suit? I don't see how. I don't see how you could put the shield over the suit.
Once the shield is out your hand, you ain't got protection no more. The suit is on you.
And plus, not only that, but the shield we saw in Endgame, the shield got destroyed. And even in the comics, the shield got destroyed. So, I mean, so far in the MCU, I'm talking MCU wise. So far in the MCU, we haven't seen that suit get destroyed.
Yeah.
You know, I guess besides the whole like when they did the battle in the whole subway station, just because of the
that's suit against suit though.
Yeah. And not even that, but like just the magnetic structure of it kind of weakened the suit. But
so that means my Magneto come in there and whoop ass, clean up. Get your ass out of here, nigga.
I mean,
nobody's suit. Like we gotta get these kids like trained up to not think that just because you have a defense that is your only piece of defense. We need more people thinking like Call of Duty. That shit can be shot off. You can put it back on, but it's getting shot off. Okay, your shield is just not like you remember when Power Rangers dropped.
Yeah.
As soon as they was on the field, man, they was whooping ass. And then just over time, as the season kept going on, man, their powers was getting weaker and weaker. They had to add on, pieces and shit like that. Other people had to come in from other episodes and help out.
They were facing like stronger villains though.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That's just over time, like that's how life works. We we came up with the cell phone. We was like, Steve Jobs is a genius. Now he's like a dumbass at this point. Like, not shitting on him. You know what? Let me use another person. Bill came out with the computer. Now he's a dumbass because he only still just know the computer and what little components. Everybody else that made everything for him, and he just slapped his name on it. Okay, He just turned into a business person. So now everybody else know how to do way more than what he's doing. I don't care how high of level he's computing and how many books he reads. Yes, you know knowledge, but as you're taking in knowledge, something got to be knocking off. Okay, you can't tell me your brain can hold that much information without you leaking the last little bit. So I can give two fucks. That's just my opinion.
You could really care less about this debate.
No, it's
I mean,
just nobody has a suit that is going to last forever. Yes, we're coming out with new innovative suits to this day, like the stuff that's coming out that Batman has. That's now really in real life. You can get that. Like you can really be Batman in real life if you wanted to, as long as you had the money. That suit really actually is possible. They got bomb suits. They got all types of suits. So these suits are feasible. But then if Russia and all these other folks that we are almost about to look like we about to jump into war with.
I ain't going to war with.
Okay. They going to come in with some bullets and some shit that's going to come past that. If you tell an opponent where my defense at, they going to shoot it once and be like, damn, that is a good defense. They going to leave and come back with something to face it. It's just the nature of life.
All I'm saying is that when I saw this whole list and they put Captain America's shield over T'Challa's suit, I threw my phone. As funny as that is, I threw my phone. I'm just like, how?
The suit is already doing enough damage, and then plus, if it's got the modifications that his sister put on it, it's got that blowback. Where it holds up the energy and then boom and will blow your. Now he got powers that he could shoot from himself. He himself got powers. So that suit is amazing, but eventually somebody gonna come in there and fuck that shit up. And I feel like
the same thing they did to Captain America's shield.
Right, and I feel
I'd like to know what metal was Thanos' sword made out of that broke vibranium.
It did the job though. Oh, and then I don't even want to know what they doing, what Marvel's doing or Disney's doing with this with Blade sword. Because you remember in the old ones, it was just a regular sword. But this one,
now that is more. I think, but now that it's more going to be entangled into the MCU.
I think that sword gonna be nasty.
Or maybe he might have multiple swords. He might have the original sword. Then when he's not fighting vampires, he has to go up against stronger villains. He's gonna have to have a different sword. So
that sword had like some nano something on the sword itself, because you saw how it was like tickling, and half of the sword was like disappeared, and then it came back. I was like, that sword gonna look like it's gonna be boy. He chopping ass cheeks off.
I think when it comes to the Blade movie, they're gonna make it to where it could be its own standalone movie. Because I mean, I understand that he is part of the Marvel universe and everything, but he's more of a vampire slayer.
Yeah, when they promote it, I think they're gonna go vampire promotion versus superhero promotion. Yeah. Even though it's still gonna be a superhero movie.
Even though it's still part of the MCU, it's still part of Phase 4 or Phase 5.
4.
Yeah, even though it's still part of Phase 4, it's just like.
I think Phase 4 is trash.
I think with Blade, you can't go too crazy.
I think Phase 4 is trash. I'm sorry. There's a couple hits.
Come on now.
But a good portion of it, trash. You can miss me with WandaVision. That was so dumb. I finally got caught up on that.
I don't feel like WandaVision was like
it caught me up. Don't get it twisted.
I don't feel like
but you could have caught me up without having to go through fucking so many TV shows of the back in the days. That was just so stupid.
I think it was just a funny concept, especially when it's about, the whole thing was just about her grief. And that's just how she felt about it.
And then low key, same thing.
Nah, low key was a good one.
Okay,
when it comes to
shit,
when it comes
like
to the
a musical.
multiverse, when it was being part of the multiverse, I think explaining the multiverse and everything and the TSA, low key was good for that.
Okay, I give you that part, but I didn't need it to turn into a musical. It looked like It looked like it to me. When it dropped, it felt like ABC Family dropped it. Why did you move from the movie sound effects and all the other bullshit? Everything was all whimsical. It sounded like Disney put all their hands in it.
Which is one reason why I'm also wondering, like, when it comes to the Netflix Marvel characters coming to the MCU, especially with Punisher. That low key scaring me right now, because it's like it was a dark, because Punisher's a damn dark ass show. It's a dark ass character, and you want Disney to put out a dark like another dark project with Punisher.
They got to match up. They got to match up with what the success of Joker did. And then the way Batman's coming out for next week, same thing. This is, I think, it's called DC Black Label now. Now that I done read up on it, DC Black Label is a whole new series. So none of the
they're doing more darker stories. Right?
For us, finally something for, because you can miss me with the other one.
I think that's just what it has to be with DC.
You can miss me with that other one.
You have to keep DC dark.
You can miss me. No, they're keeping the other universe. And you can miss me with the other universe though. They're keeping that one for the kids and letting that be PG-13, somewhere in that ballpark. Still allowing the kills, but a little more lighthearted. Nah, let's go to the Joker was putting that motherfucker up against the kicking, stabbing that nigga.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, how much time we got?
You got 5 more minutes.
5 more?
Almost an hour.
Dang. I had another topic, but I definitely want to talk to Gabe about that. I know he's gonna have something about that, so we can wrap this thing up. Oh man,
hit him with your socials and all that.
Yeah, man. You know, y'all already know what it is. This TV Nerds, another episode of Nerdz Talk. You know, follow us. All our socials. You know, go to our Linktree /TV Nerds. You'll see all our socials, our Instagram, our Twitter, our Facebook. You know, everything like that. Our YouTube. You know, keep rocking with us. Got some more people coming in. Got some more content coming out. And yeah, this has been another episode of Nerdz Talk.